Breathe in and breathe out. Did you know that indoor air you breathe could be up to 5 times more polluted than outdoor air? Fresh Air Matters specializes in helping you create a healthy indoor environment by cleaning the air you breathe. They offer local plans and services that include air filter replacement plans, air duct cleaning, and many more. Go to freshairmatters.com, call or text 469-469-1852 to learn more about cleaning your indoor air. That's freshairmatters.com or 469-469-1852. Tell Steven you heard about Fresh Air Matters from the Back in the Day podcast to receive a special discount on air duct cleaning, air purifiers, and more. Again, tell them that you heard about it from Back in the Day podcast. Welcome back to another episode. On this episode, we have my sister, Erica Pasvar. We talk about her podcast that she just recently started called More Than Your Age. We talk about stories from us growing up together. We share some inside jokes. She tells some embarrassing things about me. And of course, we hear some of her stories from back in her day. So make sure you check out her podcast. It's called More Than Your Age. You check out my website, michaelpasvar.com, for show dates coming up. Enjoy the episode.
Hey, are you talking about back in the day?
Nah, man. I'm talking about back in the day.
Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day. Back in the day.
Joining me today on the Back in the Day podcast is my sister, Erica Pasvar. How are you today, Erica?
Well, Michael Pasvar, it is a privilege to be on your show. You know, when your publicist reached out to me and was like, hey, could you be on Michael Pasvar's Back in the Day podcast? I was like, yeah, like, that, I mean, that's awesome. I feel honored, but why would my brother not, like, he could have called or like sent me a text or something, but you know, I mean, this you're big time now, so
yeah.
Thank you.
I have a confession to make. I just have a Google Voice number that was just me on a different number. I don't have a publicist at all. 100%. Well, thanks for making the drive out to Dallas.
Yeah, it was a little scary in my minivan. I was like, I saw some people looking, and I was like, hey, just a mom in a minivan here in Dallas, guys. A little nervous.
You don't come to Dallas very often because this is a pretty decent
Not
area.
in the minivan.
This is a pretty decent area. Where we used to record was kind of sketchy. We were in Deep Ellum, but we were kind of on like the last street of Deep Ellum, where it starts to get like you're near all the nightlife and everything like that, and then the nightlife starts to kind of die down, and that's where we recorded. So there were some times when I would leave walking back to my car where I did look over my shoulder a little bit, like. 100%.
Well, I didn't know coming here. I saw where it was, and I like on the map, and I was like, I think I'll be okay. And Richard, my husband, he was like, do you feel safe? And I was like, my brother will be there. I mean,
I will leave you. I don't have time for any of that. Last time that I recorded, I got a flat tire when I left.
what'd you do?
Like 100%.
AAA it up?
Flat tire. No. Got a flat tire and didn't have my spare tire with me because the last time I got a flat tire a year ago, the mechanism that you use to put the flat tire under the truck bed,
What's it
broke.
called?
I don't know. It's a mechanism. It broke. So I've been like having it in my truck bed for the past year, and I took it out because I had to haul something in the back of the truck, and so it was in the garage, and my truck was completely flat. Like, I'm not talking about like, oh, it's just a little bit flat. And so I took it to 7-Eleven, filled it up with air in the tire, made it like maybe 3 more miles, and it was completely flat again.
Oh, dang.
And so I went to another 7-Eleven, tried to fill it up. At this point, it was past filling it up. So I had to take an Uber home.
Oh.
I abandoned the truck, took an Uber home. Next day, drove to work in my wife's car.
Let her deal with it?
No. She was working from home, and the kids didn't have to be anywhere that day. Took an Uber back, or took her car to the flat-tired truck, changed the tire, then went back to work, finished off work, took an Uber to the truck, drove the truck to Discount Tire, dropped it off, took an Uber back to the car at my office, and drove home.
How
And
long
then got
did
the
that-
car the next day.
How
I
long
got
did
home
that
like
take
at
you?
7 p.m. that day.
Dang.
Yeah, it was a bad day. I
Rough
got home
day.
at like 2 o'clock in the morning, woke up at 6, went to work, did all that, got home at 7. But that's not what this podcast is about. So tell my audience a little bit about your podcast, More Than Your Age.
Oh, well, thank you for asking. So I started a podcast almost a year ago. It would be about, I think October, November was when I actually released it. And the podcast is called the More Than Your Age podcast. And so it's a podcast about having conversations with women who fully live their lives without being limited or defined by their age or life circumstance. And so the way that it came up to me was I had this idea of women all the time, and I don't know how men are. I'm sure potentially think these same thoughts, but I am not a male, so I cannot answer, can't speak for that. But women all the time will always say, well, I'm too old to do whatever they want to do. I'm too old to run a marathon. Shout out to Juicy Joggers.
No big deal.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Juicy Jogger Nation. Which I'll tell you a story about the Juicy Jogger Nation later on.
Okay. But anyway, so, they may say something like that. Or like, I remember when I was single. So I was single all through my 20s, got married in my 30s. And I would be around women that would just say, well, if I had a man, then I would, I knew a girl, she said, if I had a man, I would go or if I was married, I would go and get my master's degree. And I was like, why don't you just get it now? Like, you don't need a man.
Did y'all have a conversation about that?
We did.
Why did she think that she couldn't get a master's without a husband?
Because she wanted the support and the emotional and financial support. And I said, I get that. That's nice and necessary, but you're not guaranteed to have a husband. Like, that's not guaranteed.
Or you're not guaranteed that he's going to have a good job or support you emotionally during your master's.
That's
Because
true.
he could have a terrible job.
He could.
And not care about your emotions.
That's very true. And I was like, just go after it now. Like, what's stopping you? And I even remember that, some of the things that I would do, I was a teacher, and so I would take the summers and I would go travel because I wanted to. And people would say, well, you don't have anyone going with you. And I was like, yeah, I don't care. I'm going to go and do it. Or when I met Richard, I went dancing by myself that night, and I wanted to go dancing. And so I wouldn't say go do these things so you meet somebody, so you do whatever, but it's more of do those things because you want to do it. Chase after, you're a stay-at-home mom and that's what you want to do. Awesome. Do that. If you're a stay-at-home mom and you have this dream or this desire to do some type of side hustle, then go after that. If you have a business idea and you're scared and your age and you're feeling limited by your age because I'm 40, I'm 55. I've met so many women who don't live by that. And so anyway, long story to answer your question, the podcast is to encourage women who do feel blocked and limited to pursue those dreams. And it's supposed to encourage them so that if they have a desire to see a movie by themselves, go do that. Start a business, go do that. Because we just limit ourselves, our minds, by the negative self-talk.
Did you feel like that when you were younger or even now, that you had things that you would say oh, I can't do this because I'm this age, or I can't. What were some of them?
Well, I wanted, a long time ago, when you and I were in high school, I think we both wanted to pursue acting.
A long time ago.
For some of us. Everyone who doesn't know, we're just 2 years apart. So I am older, but, anyway, I think I didn't want to pursue acting professionally, but then I got to some point where I was doing it for fun or, community theater or whatever. And then I thought, well, if I decided I really did want to do it, I think I missed my time. Or I wanted to get into radio at one point, was told, don't do it, it's a dying industry. So I never chased after it, and then got to a certain point where it was well, it's too far to do that. Or I love dancing, and I thought, oh man, I just started dancing too late. I started really getting into dancing I did as elementary, but I really got into it my senior year in high school and thought I'm too old to continue doing that. And looking back now, I'm like, man, if I really wanted to, I could have. Now, at the same time, I'm very thankful for the way my life has gone, and looking back, and there are things that did limit me, and then there are things that I was like, hey, forget that. I don't have a guy. I don't care. I'm going to go do this. I want to buy a house. Do it.
Why are you like?
Because I was like, that sounds so stupid to say. Like, I wanted to buy a house. Look at me.
They did it. She bought a house, guys, back in like 20
when I was single
or something like that.
So, ladies or gentlemen, if you want to buy a house and you're single, and if you have saved up, do it.
Well, yeah, because that's an interesting concept because there is a lot of like society will put you have to do certain things by a certain age, right? I manage and work with a lot of people that are probably like entry level age, right? Like they're first out of college, maybe like 2 or 3 years out of college, and they have this like things they want to do by this certain age so much. And now I feel like the old person in the office because I am like one of the oldest people that work at my company, and I keep telling them like you've got to stop putting pressure on yourself by a certain. It doesn't matter. Like as long as you feel like you're improving in life, like as long as you feel like you're moving up in your career or where you're going, that's all that matters. Your only competition is yourself. Don't worry about that. So and so by age this already had this. Like I told one of them, I was like, I was a substitute teacher at your age. Like I was a substitute teacher, lived with my parents, and worked at a bar at nighttime as a door guy at a comedy club. Like everyone doesn't have to have the same exact path. Just because one person did this by this certain age means nothing. Like as long as you have goals in mind and you're working towards them, that's all that matters. Mm-hmm. And because it is interesting, like a lot of people are so like dead set on I have to do this thing by this certain time because some movie they watched or some thing that they read in a book, like wherever we have to do college by this age or this by that,
Oh, yeah. And like, I mean, and I'll still hear people, all the time. And I'm just like, you need to just not like let this number dictate your brain and the things that you do. Like I even remember I had a friend, and if she's listening, hey girl, but I had a
shout her out. Tag her.
I'm not gonna say her name.
We'll put her handle down right here underneath.
She is just a few years younger than me, so not a ton, but she has multiple children. And I remember by her last child, she said, I told myself I would not have a kid after age 35. And I'm like, looking at her, I think I was pregnant at 36. And I was like, do you realize like who you're talking to right now about this? And she's like, and I said, why 35? And she's like, I just always told myself that. And you know what's funny? This will call her out if she is listening without saying her name. But what's funny is that she had her last child the day after she turned 35. And I was like, suck it.
She's way too old to have that child.
But yeah, it's just, comments like that. And just even like, I'm getting so old and my body aches, which, yeah, it does ache. But like, are we going to continue to complain about it, or what are we going to do about it? Let's get a massage, So
people oftentimes have like certain ages that make them feel like old. Like, like some people are like, oh my God, I'm turning 30. They're freaking out about that or whatever. Did you have an age that made you feel old?
I am going to turn 40 in this next year. I feel like that feels old, but then the whole thing is like this.
You can't do that now. You have a whole podcast, a whole brand that you're trying to do.
Well, I was telling Richard, my husband, I know you know who he is. People know.
The listeners. I don't know. It's her husband, Richard.
Shout out to him. So Richard, I was telling Richard that I feel like this whole podcast is kind of like a therapy for myself too, of just like this. I mean, this is helping me, and I just am getting so pumped by hearing people. But to really answer your question too, I think turning 30 was really hard, or the idea of turning 30, because I was single, and so I think I thought I should be married by now. I should. I was a teacher, and so I was fine with teaching, but like, people are becoming principals and administrators, and I should be doing that, or I should be making way more money, or whatever it is. And then I think that's why I did like all the things that I did before turning 30, just because I didn't want to dread that, because I felt like I was lagging.
So 30 was tough for you.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know my ages that were tough for me?
I do.
Okay. 26 was tough for me. And 32.
Why?
Because our parents were 26 when they got married, and they were 32 when they had me. And so growing up... But
you were married.
Yeah, I know. But growing up, those ages always seemed old to me, right? Because like those were the highlights of saying, those were like, at 26 I got married. At 32 I had you or whatever. And so to me, when I hit those ages, like, damn, I'm old. Like, because that in that mindset of growing up at 12, thinking 26 was old, at 15, thinking 30, whatever. And like when I got to those numbers, those really bothered me. 30, no problem. Didn't care about turning 30. I don't have any problem when I turn 40 and 2 years after you do. I don't have any problem about turning 40. That doesn't bother me. 35 didn't bother me. But 32, 26, I remember 26 being like, telling myself I was like a loser and like I hadn't accomplished this, I hadn't accomplished that.
Really?
Like, yeah, like I had like this whole like, man, and I was like not in the shape that I wanted to be. And I'm like 21-year-old Michael would be pissed at 26-year-old, like having this whole like conversation with myself 100%.
Did it eventually end after you were
Yeah,
26?
it was just one day.
Or was
It was like a day. Like,
okay.
Just brushed it off. Yeah.
All right.
It's not like a whole.
All right,
one
one day guy.
Yeah, it was just a whole like a one day. I didn't talk to anyone about it or anything. I just hit it down inside.
Yeah.
So you said that you had this whole thing that you did before you were 30. My sister Erica here, she did before she was 30. Was it the year leading up to 30?
Yeah.
So she had to do 30 things before she was 30. And you're currently doing that at 40, right?
I sure am.
What have you knocked off, and what do you still have left to do?
Okay, well, the biggest thing on my list was to go see Jimmy Fallon. I'm obsessed with him, love him. Did you know this, that I would never tell anyone when he was on SNL, but he was my crush.
Oh, loser. Dang, does
You knew about JT. So like JT and Jimmy Fallon, they're like best friends. I mean, those are the two that I'd love to meet. But
can I tell you something real quick?
Yeah.
Do you remember one time, you and Mom would go to the NSYNC concerts a lot? Do you remember one time you came back and like after the concert, you like told me like, Mom said Justin's a good singer. And you were so happy, like as if like your boyfriend got some kind of approval or something, and like, yeah, he sells millions of records. Of course, he's a good singer. Do you remember that?
I think I remember you telling that story more so than actually remembering it happening. But I 1,000% believe that I said that, because girls all the time, when they like someone, they always wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, 100%. So going to see Jimmy Fallon.
Going to see Jimmy Fallon.
You saw him back in the spring.
Saw him in the springtime. I was hoping I'd meet him. He like does his thing where he comes into the audience. I had this whole plan of what I was going to do if he was like, I need questions from the audience. And I was going to raise my hand and I was going to say, so if anyone's out there, you can steal this idea because I missed my opportunity. I was going to say, hey, Jimmy, could the Roots play a song and you and I dance? Great idea.
Yeah.
Right?
But he didn't come to you?
I just forgot. Like the whole time I was just like googly eyes and starstruck. And then I was like, I wish I had a question. And it wasn't until like a few weeks later I came back and was telling the story. And they were like, well, did you have a question? And I said, whoever I was talking to. Mm-hmm. And I was like, dang it. I was going to ask him that question to dance.
Dang.
And I didn't.
You blew it.
Yeah, someone else was like, we take a Santa picture every year. Will you take a Santa picture with us and wear a Santa hat? And
did he do it?
He did it. But he was like looking around to like make sure it was okay, because you never know, they could be crazy.
Did he have a Santa? Who had a Santa hat? They had their own?
Like,
that's weird. Because didn't you go in April?
Yeah, but they knew in advance. Like they planned ahead.
Well, yeah, but they had to like, I don't keep my Christmas decorations just out 24/7. So they had to go to their attic, find the Christmas decorations, dig through it, make sure they find the box that keeps their Santa hat in it. Like that was a whole ordeal. That wasn't just like a whole, we brought a Santa hat.
Oh no,
with
they
us.
intended to do that.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
They're weirdos. Like
I mean, I applaud them. I wish I thought of it. Call me that weirdo. I don't care.
There you go. All right. So what else have you accomplished on the list?
Okay, let me think. I wanted to go to a speakeasy. You think like, oh, that's cool, speakeasy, and it's like, yeah, cool, they're cool. Went to a speakeasy,
Where did
and
you go
it's
to
not that
speakeasy
cool. In North Carolina, I was visiting Sarah, my friend, and I was like, this is on my list, and so like, we were like get all dressed up, trying to feel all cool. We walk in, it's just like a bar.
Yeah. How'd you get the password?
She
Facebook?
somehow knew it. I think she was like she joined their membership, and then. And she's like, oh, this is the password for today.
Do you remember what it was?
No.
Well, that sucks.
Probably like.
I don't think speakeasies I mean, they're fine. I get it. It's a marketing thing.
It's a total marketing thing. And I was like, I got duped.
Yeah. I've been to a couple speakeasies, no big deal. One of the most common reasons for poor indoor air quality and HVAC malfunction is restricted airflow and poor air circulation caused by the failure to replace the air filters. When was the last time you replaced your air filters? Do you own rental property? Are you tired of climbing into your attic to replace your air filters? With Fresh Air Matters air filter replacement plans, you won't have to worry about replacing your air filters again. They provide the filters, they replace them for you, and they clean your return vents on the same day, same time, every 30 to 90 days. Go to freshairmatters.com or contact Steven at 469-469-1852 to schedule your air filter replacements plan or any other local IAQ services. And
okay, here's the thing. This whole list is like, it doesn't have to be like, look at what I did. Look at what I'm doing.
What else is on there?
Okay,
this is what we're making it. We're making it. This is what you did. This is what I'm doing. So we're making this part.
Okay, I'm trying to think of something that has been.
What's left on there? What's the big ones, the highlights? Are there any that you think you're not going to be able to accomplish?
Okay, well, there's one. I think I told you about this before. So you are a comedian. I am not. But I want to challenge myself and do an open mic night. And it doesn't have to be at a comedy club. It can be. I just found out the other day that there's some chocolate place down the street here in Dallas that does an open mic
Mondays.
night.
Chocolate Secrets.
Yeah, Chocolate Secrets on
everyone
Monday.
knows about it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I didn't know about it. And so I'm like, oh, okay, I could go do that, do a couple jokes, maybe steal my brother's jokes and take it as my own.
No, why don't we do this? Instead of going to an open mic, next time I have a show that I'm headlining and I can control the crowd, or I can control the lineup, you come and do 3-minute guest set.
That terrifies me. And the only reason why it terrifies me is because you would be watching, and then there'd be people in the audience that I'm sure I would know.
No. You bring your friends. You have them come. You do the whole thing. They come to the show. They buy tickets. They come
buy your merch.
Yeah, they come show. They buy one piece of merch, and they buy.
Do you still have your I like your Jesus?
No, I sold out of those, and so I sold out of those that merch, and I told myself that once I sold out of that merch, I would officially retire those jokes. So I haven't told those jokes since.
Oh.
So I
think you
sold
told
out.
me that before.
I sold out of that merch, I think about a year ago. So I haven't told those jokes in a long time. I might though. Again, you never know. In case if I find a couple pieces around the house to make a couple extra bucks,
Get that Disney money.
Yeah, get that Disneyland money. What's up?
Okay.
That's what you should do, because that's a controlled audience. Going to an open mic, if it's just something that you want to check it off your list and do it as something that is fun, I think you should do that, because it's an audience that's actually going to be paying attention. You have people in there that will know you, and it'll be they'll be cheering for you to do well. Otherwise, you go to these open mics, they don't know who you are. You're going to go up at 1 o'clock in the morning in front of nobody, and you'll probably get depressed afterwards.
What about the chocolate place? It's 7 to 9, right? Okay, I may take you up on that offer. The only reason I would not is because I just want to do it in front of people I don't know, because I feel like you get the true representation, right?
That's true.
Your friends are going to be like, it was great. Even what if it sucked? I mean, you would tell me the truth.
Yeah, I would tell you 100% if it wasn't any good.
I know. That also terrifies me. I don't want to do that. I'm not trying to make it to be a comedian. I just want to try it because I think it would be fun.
Well,
All
right. What else is on there besides that? Left. Is there? So you think you'll do that before February?
I think so. Yeah, I have to sit down again and reevaluate my list one more time, because I've forgotten some things, or I'm like, oh, I need to plan this. I hate running, as do you, but I want to do a family fun run. But with the family, with the kids, that'll be easy. We'll walk half the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Probably all of the
So
time.
a 5K?
Yeah, 5K, maybe a Disney, we're Mickey Mouse ears or something.
I got you.
Yeah, so do something like that. So have I told you about the 1,000 Hours Outside lady? She's
Probably
huge.
not.
I mean, huge. She's people know about her.
Okay.
People know who she is. Okay. she's sorry. her big thing is like being outside for 1,000 hours with your kids. And it's harder when you're in school all the time or you're working full time. But with me, I'm with my kids full time. And so it's like, okay, I'm going to try to make those hours work. Well, I want to connect with her and I want to have her as a guest on my show. And so, anyway, so that's on my list of I would love
stalking her.
Well, connect with her,
okay,
build a relationship, have her as a guest, and then also complete the 1,000 hours outside.
Where does she live? Like, where is she? Like, I mean, not like
Michigan. I was going to try to do a Michigan accent.
No, yeah, don't do that. I don't even know what a Michigan accent sounds like.
Michigan.
No, don't do that. Just be you.
I know. That is me.
Okay, so
I reached out to her though.
did she see your message?
Yes.
Did she write you
She's
back?
scheduled.
Oh,
yeah.
She's on the podcast.
Well, I mean, I haven't interviewed her yet, but as of now, she's scheduled, and so my hope is that like that's going to happen. So
Well,
I feel like that like for me, when I got the
Heck
I'm not
yeah.
going to lie. This is kind of embarrassing. When I got the email back, her husband emailed me back because he is like, it's her business partner. And so he's like, so I haven't connected with her yet. And he wrote back and he's like, oh, Jenny's really excited she wants to be a guest on your show. And I cried.
That's awesome.
I teared up. I was like, are you kidding me? Because, I mean, she's a big deal to me.
Yeah, no,
Not a lot
I
of people know who
understand
she
that.
is, but a lot of people do, you know?
Yeah, there's been
Yeah.
some times where there's been a couple of people that when I've reached out to them about doing this show or doing other things, when they said yes or, we'll talk about it, I clapped really hard. Like, like, let's go.
Was
I
that with
clapped
me
really hard.
when I said yeah?
I didn't think I was going to be able to get you on. So I'm glad we were able to make that. That was actually, that's why I brought you on, was to tell you that story about me clapping super hard when you said yes. Okay.
Appreciate it.
So you got her on there.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably going to make the 40 by 40. Talk to me about growing up. You said, how did you get into theater? Do you remember what made you want to be into theater?
No, I have no idea what made me want to be in theater. I feel like you and I just always performed. And so we did videos, real good videos.
Real good videos.
They're real good. Dance videos.
Music videos.
Man, you pulled that one out. You posted it before, but you pulled it out again. I was like, you know what? We really did have some good dance moves,
We weren't bad.
We weren't bad. And your daughter, both your daughters, but your youngest, she really has some moves. I'm like, she takes after her daddy and her aunt and her aunt. I don't know if Cindy can dance, but I'm sure she can.
Yeah, she can dance a little bit, but not like me,
At your wedding, so the first time that I had seen you like really dance, I mean, I saw you as a child, right? But that's like different. At your wedding, I was like, dang, Michael can dance. Like, I remember him doing the Running Man as a 5-year-old to MC Hammer and, killing it. But like, and then all the guys in your wedding, like, were all on the stage, which... That was awkward.
We're on a budget. We didn't get the Alibaba wedding like you got with the belly dancers.
That was also a budget.
We didn't get the
You want to tell the
belly
people about the
dancer.
belly dancer?
Yeah, my sister had a belly dancer at her wedding. She had...
Okay, we're Iranian, Persian, whatever you want to say, half. And, that was a way to embrace the culture. We had a reception, my husband and I did, at a Persian restaurant. And the owner there was like, do you want a belly dancer? And I'm like, yeah.
Of course I want a belly dancer.
Of course I want to. And then I thought, are people going to judge? Because, I worry too much of what people think. And then I was like, if they're going to judge, let them judge. And if they think it, it's a cultural experience. That's the thing we could say. It's a cultural experience, know, with the knife.
Belly with a knife.
You remember she had like a knife on her head?
Did she?
Yeah, because you made a comment about it in your speech.
I don't remember a lot about your... I remember your wedding, but I drank a lot at your
Remember at
wedding.
the end?
Yeah, I remember it.
That's another story that we're not sharing.
Yeah. Do you know the story that I would cut the line of the bar every time I went up to it, and I would tell everyone, like, my daddy paid for this? I'm like, excuse me, my
They're
daddy.
probably like, he's funny.
Yeah, excuse me, my daddy paid for this. Like, to every single time I would get a drink, and then our cousin Matt, shout out,
Matt. How you doing?
I think he was 18 at your wedding, 19 maybe. What year did you get married? 2016.
2016.
19. He was
underage,
drinking. What's up, Matt?
Whoop.
Breaking the law. Holla at your boy. You know what I'm saying? MIC. But he was drinking, and we were taking shots, and he threw up everywhere. Did you not know this?
No, I
And
didn't.
he threw up outside, and I was telling the guy that was the bartender was like
Joey.
He was a groomsman too, right?
Yeah.
So like he owned like the bartending company or whatever, and I like was giving him a hard time, like, dude, why'd you make my cousin throw up? He's 19. Like I was just like
Blaming it on him.
it was like you were the one giving him the stuff. I was like, I'm just joking with you. My daddy paid for it. But okay, yeah. So dancing, doing all
Belly
that stuff.
dancer.
You know what's funny about you said that about my wedding with all my friends up there dancing? Most of the weddings that my core group of friends, when we go to, we are dancing more than anyone else there.
I remember you saying that, which is so shocking because usually that doesn't happen. But all of y'all can dance, so shout out to your boys.
We break it down. We had at one of my friends' weddings. So our friend group kind of mixed because he and I went to grew up together and were college
Wait, who's
roommates.
he?
Jake.
Oh.
We're college roommates and grew up together. So all of our friends know each other, like our college friends and our high school friends all kind of mixed. But at his wedding, we had a dance battle between high school friends and college friends, and we destroyed them. They think they won, but the crowd, they did a little thing where the crowd applauded and we won. You know?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, they to this day, it's still like a conversation that we have. It was like 12 years ago. We still talk about it,
That's
who
so
won
funny.
the dance competition. They did have the best dancer, but as a group, when it happened, because one of them did like a little break dance thing, like spun around and then like posed real like dropped the mic, and that got a lot of applause, don't get me wrong. But at the end of it, when it was time to put the hands over who won, the crowd yelled the loudest for us.
Oh, okay. So
We
take
won,
the trophy.
you know what I mean?
Sure did. Have you told your listeners, I don't know if you've shared this on a previous episode, of when you, and I can't remember who of your friends were in that talent show and like whatever dance moves that y'all did, and they're like, get him off the stage or
When
something
the first ever disqualification of the Miss Hebron pageant?
Oh, the even better.
Yeah. I think I have talked about it before.
Okay.
But a video of that resurfaced recently.
Really?
Yeah, I'll show it to you later. I have it on my phone.
Okay.
It is out of control. Like that, we did that. 100%. I'll go more into detail that whenever on the bonus episode.
Okay.
All right. So you don't remember what made you want to get into theater?
I really don't, honestly. Do you remember what made me?
I don't remember what made you. I know. I don't really remember what made me either. I just remember doing like church plays, being still in the show. You know what I'm saying? Crushing it.
Behind me.
Yeah, doing a good job at the church plays, then doing it in middle school.
Yeah, I was going to say, I joined it in middle school. I feel like I remember seeing a play and was like, I want to do that. And then Miss Boynton, I know she's a listener. Hey, we love you.
I don't know if she listens, but what's
Really?
up? I don't know. Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't.
She goes
Hello,
to
Miss
shows.
Boynton.
We love you.
Yeah. Then doing that, then going to high school, and then you just stopped.
And then I stopped. You know why I stopped? I stopped because I just didn't want to live that lifestyle.
I think you also stopped, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think you were afraid of Dad. Because
Why?
Because Dad would always tell us that, like, I will only pay for your college if you get this degree and this degree and this degree, and theater definitely was not one of them. But I still got my college paid for, you know. So.
No, I really don't think that's it. I really think, like, because I loved it so much, and I auditioned for different things, but then I was just like, you know, I don't want that lifestyle. I don't want to be influenced by that lifestyle. And so I was like, I'll just do it. You can do it for fun.
Yeah.
You know? And I have zero regrets because and I don't know if I told you this before either, but I had met a friend like as an adult right after Richard and I got married, and she was a professional actress, moved here and was performing in a show, and so we went to go see it, and I kind of thought, like, I wonder if there's going to be this sense of jealousy, you know, that you don't want to admit, but like it can be there. And so the whole time watching it, I had zero bits of that, had zero desire to be like, oh, I wish I was up there on the stage, and 1,000% happy for her doing that. So I was like, okay, that's my answer. I don't have any regrets with that, and I still don't. And maybe down the line, I may want to get back into it just for fun, or I don't know. I think voice acting, though, I think I'd want to do at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely, when I quit and decided that I wasn't going to pursue that full time and make that my career, For like 3 years, I was super jealous of any time anyone that I did anything with got like big stuff. Like it like really bothered me. So some people that I went to college with, they did something. It was like some kind of short thing, some web thing, and they won an Emmy for it. And I'm talking like 3 years after college, right? And I'm like, so I like tweeted out, and I was like, a couple people that I graduated from college just won an Emmy. Oh yeah, well on Fridays we get to wear shorts in my office. You know, like,
Dig that.
But then as like, I think once my career got more established, and like I started having kids, and I had a house, and then I saw like that they just didn't have some of them do, but a lot of people that I was jealous of the success they got quickly, they didn't have any of that, and I was like, I'm happy where I'm at. And at that point I was like, I'm 100% happy where I'm at. Like they don't have the stuff that I actually wanted. The reason why I didn't go is because I wanted this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
you said that, and then now would you still say like, yeah, I'm still happy for them and thankful for where I'm at now, or
yeah,
is there
for
still
sure.
that side of you that's like, I wish I was?
Well, none of them blew up. Like it's not like any of them like, you know what I mean? Like I don't know what any of those people are doing or whatever. Like I haven't heard from them. There's a few people that have had like careers, but none of them that the original me getting jealous of. They might have like a career at it, but I don't know what their career entails. You know what I mean? So definitely not jealous of that. Like having to live in it. Like there was a guy who's a lot older than I am, but we have like mutual friends, I would say, and he's probably like 30 years older than me, and he's been in LA for like 45 years, 30, 40 years at this point, and he like probably lives like whatever. Like there's no security in his life. Like I would not like that at all. You know what I mean? While it probably would have been, it's fun. Like the 3 times a year you get to work on something. The rest of that, that would be so torture. So. No, definitely don't have any jealousy of that at all.
Well, that's good. And it's good, too, that you still now, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like even performing as a comedian, it's not acting, it's different, but that's still a way to perform, or even like doing this, still not a performance, but does it feel like it's like you're performing in a way?
Yes and no. Comedy definitely gets, like itches that bug of like wanting to like express myself, and like I've started like writing more material about things that affect me a little bit more, so like I get to do that on stage, so that I like that. I do miss like diving into a character. Like if I could do like I do every now and then, I'll do a commercial. There's no fulfillment out of that. Like a commercial, like that's cool. You make some good money doing it, and that's cool, right? It's a little extra money, but there's no like artistic fulfillment. Like I don't dive into a character. I'm a freaking prop. Like I'm holding a drink, whatever. Like that's not anything that you get. You just do that because they're paying you well, right? But if I could do like a play, I would like love to do a play one more time. Like just like dive into a character. However, I don't have time for that. That's like
not now, but you could down the road.
Yeah, maybe when I'm like 50.
Yeah.
When I'm
you're more than
my age, you know what I'm saying? All right. So, name of the podcast is called Back in the Day.
Yes,
right?
it is. I love the song.
Yeah.
Who did the song?
Travis made the song.
Travis.
Yeah.
I listened to an episode on the way just to like get hyped, and I was like, that song is
It's
legit.
a banger. It's a banger
is a
of a
banger.
song, right?
I know. I'm like,
Yeah. It's a good song. Make sure you guys jam it. Add it to your Spotify playlist. Shout out Spotify. Just got Spotify 2 years ago. It's changed my life. I've talked about no big deal. $10 a month, $10.99 now. Got a little extra cash laying around. I can get the premium.
So if you listen to the podcast, it better be on Spotify.
Yeah, listen to it on Spotify or whoever will sponsor me more. Shout out Fresh Air Matters. So name of the podcast, Back in the Day. Each season, I focus on one topic. This season, we're talking about like the times that you got in trouble the most. Okay. So do you remember the time you got in trouble the most at home?
Okay, well, first I want to say when you texted me, or your fake publicist phone number, you texted me that. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you should know me that I am your your sister, and I am like the most boring person when it comes to getting in any type of trouble. And then I was like, is he gonna walk away when I have stories for you to tell, stories to share, but I was like, no, if this thing crashes, we're all going down.
Do you have a story about getting in trouble? I legitimately don't think you ever got in trouble.
No,
from
I
our
got
parents.
like a spanking for something. But what I did want to share that I think your listeners will want to know is that when we were kids, up until, I can't remember what age for you, is like 14 or 15. Do you remember what I used to call you?
Like puppy dog or whatever?
So for everyone who needs to know, your host over here, Michael Pasvar, when he was a kid through probably 14 or 15. I don't think
I was that old. No, it was like 11 or 12.
No, I'd say 13.
Hey, but what was the thing? Hold on. I got two things I need to ask you first before we talk about that. There was something that you were like holding over me.
I was going to bring that up.
For years. That you were like, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, I'm going to tell mom and dad about such and such. What was that?
Okay, so this was like the best manipulation tool ever. So Michael, I got to rewind and tell the puppy dog thing, and then it'll get to that.
All right, okay.
So Michael, I don't know how I started. I would call Michael a puppy dog, and I would pet his hair, pet his back, and I would say, "Come here, puppy dog."
I like it. I like words of affirmation.
And he would come, and I would pet his hair. And, nobody knew about it except us and our parents that I would call him puppy dog. But because of that, I was able to get you to do whatever I wanted. And it was amazing. So if like mom and dad were like, clean your rooms, and I'd say, Michael, go clean go clean the room. And you're like, no. And I'd say, well, I'm not going to call you puppy dog anymore. And then you would do it immediately, and it was amazing. And so then that ended at some point, and then when that ended, it transferred over to, well, you're not going to do that, or you don't let me sit in the front seat, or I don't get this type of food, I'm going to tell mom and dad. And you'd be like, what are you going to tell him? I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to tell him. You want to know what I had over you?
What?
Nothing.
Well, it was a good bluff because there was a lot of stuff that I got in trouble for. Erica got not one time in trouble ever.
Because I never did anything.
I think you probably did. You didn't have like a dark side to you?
No, I did not have a dark side to me. That's just my personality. I never wanted to disappoint mom and dad.
Nerd.
And I was, I didn't. And I think like looking back too, I'm like, well, I feel like I'm a people pleaser. And in that's kind of one of those things. You don't want to disappoint people. And so I'm like, I never wanted to disappoint anybody. And so
you didn't have anything?
No.
All right, second question for you.
Okay, but I have other stories to share.
No, I know. This is another thing that one time, remember when the hit song, I'm going to make you sweat till you bleed. Remember, you know what song I'm talking about? You know what song I'm talking about, right? And that song came out probably when I was like 6 or something like that.
No, I think I was in 5th grade when this happened.
No. I was so much younger than that. Like, that song came out like 92 or something.
Yeah, but like when I asked you this question, I'm pretty sure I was in 5th grade because there was a group that did it for the talent show. And I was like, what does that mean?
No, I asked you what it meant. And you told me
right.
that you were going to tell me when I got older. I'm older now. What did you think sweat till you bleed means?
Oh, you know which one I was thinking you were talking about? Was the like, I can't remember that line of, what song was it? But you were like, oh, they're talking about dreadlocks. And it was obviously that they were not talking about dreadlocks. You know
I don't know what you're talking about at all.
Okay. Well, I don't know either. Was sweat make you sweat till you bleed?
I was going to write something like a joke about that. And then like 33 years later, I still don't know what going to make you sweat till you bleed means.
I don't know what I was going to say.
Okay.
When I was a kid.
You know, one thing that you did that you didn't get in trouble for, but that you did do wrong.
What?
So me and the neighborhood boys used to spray paint cuss words on that little underpass thing.
Yeah.
By our parents' house, and you're the one that told us how to spell them. So you don't remember? You don't have anything you ever got in trouble for?
Not as a child. No, not as a child. I never got grounded. I never when people would have the parties, I'd be like, I'm out.
Did you ever steal anything?
Probably. I probably did.
You don't remember?
No, I do remember as like a 5-year-old, but it's like not a good story. I like gum. we had to
Really?
go back to the grocery store and
Oh,
apologize.
shit.
And cry. I know. Look at me, guys.
You did that?
I did that.
Because I stole
5.
from that Kroger at least 5 times.
Maybe your memory is what
No.
my memory. Like you doing that was me remembering that.
I stole a toy pager that I had asked Mom for it, and she told me no. So I opened it up and stole it and went home with it, and she heard me playing with it, and she's like, "What is that?" And she came in there, and she was like, and I said, "How did you get this?" And I was like, "Oh, you bought it for me." She's like, "No, I didn't," whatever.
Oh, yeah, you stuck it in my magazine.
No, that's a whole nother story.
That's another one.
Yeah. And so I got in trouble for that, 100%.
Man, okay, you think about it. Same parents raised two, you and me, and look at us. This angel child, this demon.
You know what they say, though, is that I saw some, maybe like an Instagram post or whatever. I don't know where I saw this at, but like they always say raised by the same people. Well, you're not the same people. You might be the same name and have the same same address and all the other type of stuff, but you're a different person by the time that other child is born.
2 years. For
No,
us.
but I'm just saying, like, you've been through some stuff, some things have changed. You warmed down so much that they didn't put morals onto me, and I was just getting in trouble.
Go ahead.
So, I got in a lot of trouble. So, no stories from Mom and Dad getting you in trouble.
No, and that's why I was like, that will be boring.
What about school?
What about school? Okay, so this is such a stupid one, too. I was a freshman. I went to the Colony at this time. Freshman in high school. And I was like, we had a sub, and I'm like, I'm going to skip class.
What? I don't think I know this
You
story.
probably don't. I probably was mortified. And so there's a sub there, and it was in a theater class, which was a blow-off class at freshman year at the Colony when I took it. And so I was like, I'm going to go to the bathroom, and I'm going to roam the hallways, and I'm going to be badass. So I leave the classroom, and I just roam the hallway, and this teacher comes up to me, and she goes, "Hey, come here." And I was like sweating and stressed out. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I gotta go to the bathroom." She's like, "I've seen you roaming around like 20 different times."
Wait, what did you just walk a loop?
Yeah, there's they had a big loop. I just looped it, and I was like, "I'm cutting class."
But you asked to go to the bathroom or something, right?
Yeah, knowing that I was gonna skip.
Oh,
you know?
but you didn't skip. You just took a long bathroom break. That's a long bath. That's not skipping class. You stayed in the building. You asked permission.
I got in trouble for it.
Yeah,
and I
what
started
happened,
crying.
though?
She was like, "You need to go back in class. You're getting a detention." I was like, "Yes, ma'am." And then I ran to the class, and that was it.
But you didn't get detention?
No.
You didn't get in trouble. You got a stern talking to.
I thought I got in trouble.
That's not trouble.
I cried.
That's not trouble at all. That's not a that's like, okay, that's like the people I used to like in meetings I would like talk loudly, and people like, and I would have some of my sales reps that would be like, yeah, or whatever, like they would not have any problem with it, they get motivated by it. Then other ones would be like, you were yelling at us, like you yelled at us today. And I was like, did you play sports growing up? I'm like, no. And I was like, okay, I could always tell the difference between the ones that like had a coach and like had someone like talk to them sternly and ones that didn't or whatever. That's you right now. Like you didn't.
I had a coach.
No. That's just an analogy.
I know. I never got in trouble, and that was my time. And I cried like a
go
baby.
back to class, or you'll get in trouble from your long bathroom break. That's not.
I was gone for 20 minutes. Okay. Yeah. No. So that's it in high school. Nothing exciting there.
What happened when you got back to class?
Nothing. It was a sub.
Did they even know?
No.
Did you ever substitute teach?
Yes, I did.
Did you ever get in trouble with a substitute teacher?
No, not like you. No, I followed the rules, dude. I knew I wanted a certain profession. I know. So
I got written up as a substitute teacher. I had to go to the principal's office.
No, I was like so embarrassed. I was like, come on, Michael.
Easy.
You're a grown man.
I didn't do anything
Get
wrong.
it together.
I let someone write on a dry erase board. Whether you suffer from allergy symptoms like sneezing, coughing, itchy eyes and throat, runny nose, asthma, more severe respiratory issues, or even cancer, poor indoor air quality has been directly linked to your overall health. Take control of the air you breathe today. Contact Steven of Fresh Air Matters for more. Fresh Air Matters has everything you need to clean the indoor air before you breathe. Go to freshairmatters.com/air purifiers and use my promo code PASVAR, that's PASVAR, at checkout to receive a special discount on all air purification products. Go to freshairmatters.com or call or text at 469-469-1852. That's freshairmatters.com or call or text at 469-469-1852.
When we had our McAllister's job and you and Sonny were like trying to cheat for the test, and I
cheated.
I cheated with you, but I remember being like so nervous. Gaston's gonna find out.
For those of you that didn't listen to season 2 with Sonny G, when we talked about us getting fired from McAllister's Deli off of Hebron Parkway in Carrollton, F Gaston, Erica, we talked about that. She worked with us. And that was the craziest job. Like, that was the most intense training I've ever had, still to this day. Like,
they were real intense.
Chanting, Jason Deli sucks. Quiznos sucks. Remember that?
I do remember that. But do you also did you talk about this on the episode with Sonny that like all the guys that looked like you and Sonny
worked in the back? If you had McAllister's racist, okay, 100%. I don't know if all of them are
back in that day.
I don't know if all of them are ran by the same people, but the ones that ran the McAllisters in Carrollton off Hebron Parkway when they were first opening, 100% racist. Everyone that had dark hair worked in the back. It didn't matter like what your skill level was. It was like, you're a cook, you're a cook, you're a cook. And everyone that was like blonde haired, blue eyed or whatever, they worked up front. And it's like, if you'd ever met me and Sonny, we are personable people. We're 18. Like, you want us out front. Like, you want us charming people. You want us making them laugh, upselling them to get an extra cookie, something like that. You don't want us in the back making bread, doing that stuff, because here's your chance. Here's God honest truth. You made a mistake, McAllister's, because I couldn't cut sandwiches correctly. And you fired me during training because of that.
You could have actually probably
fought
back for dysgraphia discrimination.
I know. Well, that mom ruined that because she didn't tell me about it until I was 23 or something like that. I could own that McAllister's right now.
You could be the guest. No, he wasn't though.
No, I wouldn't
have. GM.
I just would have showed up every now and then. I would have treated my people correctly. I wouldn't have fired people like that. Hispanics and Iranians would have got to work up front.
I worked up front.
Yeah, I know, because you were a girl.
True.
Do you remember that one day? They were going through everybody, and like they were like, "Raise your hand if you know if you're front of the house or back of the kitchen." And there's one like real Hispanic guy like raised his hand. He's like, "Ah," and suddenly I go, "Yo,
You're
Jose, you in the back, dog? Like, you with us? Like, come on now, like look around you, like." You made it a long time though. There, you were for like a year.
6 months. No, it was about 6 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 6 months and.
So no other stories about getting in trouble in school?
No, not in school. I mean, when I was at UNT.
Oh, you said hell.
I said what?
Remember when you pulled a ticket in first grade?
I did pull a ticket in first grade. Yeah, first grade. Miss Kane. She was ruthless. Yeah, I remember we were sitting around reading books and Brandon, what was his last name? Oh, no, it wasn't him. It was some girl. She goes, "What the?" And then this kid named Brandon, he goes, and I said, "Hell?"
You 100% heard that from our mom.
Oh, yeah. And they were like, "How'd you hear it?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know where I heard it from." Talking to my mom, "Where did I hear it?" "I don't know, baby. I don't know.
I do declare.
I would never.
Yeah, 100%. You heard that from her.
Yeah.
So you pulled that ticket.
You
know, that was a big moment in your life because you could have gone one or two ways. Like, like you get in trouble. Because I know that for the listeners out there, I didn't pull my first ticket. Well, if you don't know what that is, in elementary school, at some elementary schools, the way they discipline you is they have all of your names on the wall, and then up to it, they have like this little ticket thing underneath it, and like green means you're doing good, then yellow, then red, and I think that red they call your parents or something like that. And so when you get in trouble, they make you go and pull that ticket, and it's really humiliating because it's like in front of the entire class, and the thing stays up in front of the class. Well, I didn't pull a ticket until the end of third grade.
Yeah, that you learned that.
I learned what was happening, or whatever. But once I pulled that first ticket and I cried at my desk and I realized I survived, I just started pulling tickets. You know what I mean? I didn't care anymore.
I know.
Started pulling tickets, started getting detentions in middle school. I just realized that it doesn't really matter about your detentions. But I stopped getting detentions once I started playing middle school sports. Because did y'all have makeups that you had to do if you got a detention?
Yeah. Yeah, or like...
from sports?
Or you have to do like suicides or something like that.
I'm not doing that.
Nope.
Hell no.
Mm-mm. Or you wouldn't get to play in a game or anything like that.
All right, so what'd you do at UNT that you got in trouble with?
Okay. So I was dating someone, I had a long-term relationship. And one time we were like, let's sneak into the stadium. And so we're like, ooh, we're going to sneak in. It's crazy. We're going to be crazy. So we climb over the fence and like they had the barbed wire. Somehow we made it over. And it was like, my heart was beating the whole time because I was like, what if we get caught? Like, what's going to happen? We climb over and sit out in the field, have a picnic, and never got caught.
That's not getting in trouble.
I didn't get in trouble. I'm just telling you stories of like me doing things where I could have gotten in trouble. So like, you drive down the highway or you drive down the road and you're like going 40 and it's like a 35 and then they're like whoop whoop and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting like, what's happening? What's happening to me?
What age were you when you got pulled over?
The first time?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. 20, 18, 19, no clue.
Really? Did you get a ticket?
So that they pull you over and they're like, ma'am, do you know why I pulled you over? I have no idea. Why did you pull me over? Well, your lights aren't on. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Is that the only time you got pulled over?
I must have missed that. Let me flip those lights back on. I'm just going to write you a warning. Okay, well, you have a good night, officer. You too, ma'am. Okay, then another time, maybe you're going 60 and a 55. Pull you over. Ma'am, do you know what's going on? I said, is it my lights? Did I miss my lights again? You sure did. I said, oh, man. Thanks for letting me know. Well, let me see your license and registration. Okay, well, you have a good night. Make sure you put that light on. Okay, I'll do that. Thank you, sir. Then another time, I go driving. I'm in Denton, and you're at a stoplight. You can either go straight or you can go left. Well, I was in the straight lane. I double-checked because I saw the cop next to me. And so I'm going straight because the little cop guy was taking a left, and then I go straight, and then sure enough, he comes right behind me. Whoop, whoop. I said, hi, officer, can you tell me what happened? He's like, ma'am, you went straight in a left turn lane only. And I said, actually, I didn't. It was a straight lane only. And I knew that it was straight only because I saw you next to me and I didn't want to make sure that I got a ticket. And he said, well, it's a left turn lane only. And he wrote me a ticket. And I was like, are you kidding me? And so I tried to fight it and I got it. I won.
You won? You like fought like with the cop or you like went to court?
I went to court. I went to, you just go up and you defend yourself. You take a picture of where you got the ticket at. Hi, this is a straight, go straight. He pulled me over.
Is that your only ticket?
Yeah. No, I got in a wreck one time and I went through past a stop sign and I thought that there was a 4-way stop sign and this car is driving super fast and I'm yelling like, slow down, stop, you're not stopping. And then they crashed me and my car flips and I land into the yard and the house in front of me and I get out and they said I ran a stop sign, but I didn't.
Oh, there you go.
It's crazy.
Okay.
Then another time I was like dating another guy and he's like, you want to dating a guy. Well, actually, I wasn't dating him. We were hanging out way too long for what we should, like wasting my time because he didn't want any type of commitment. We eventually date. I don't know if you remember that guy.
I know who it is. That guy sucked.
I was obsessed with him. I don't know why.
Yeah, I know, it was weird.
And anyway, one night he was like, you want to ride my motorcycle? And I was like, yeah, let's ride a motorcycle. So we wore a helmet. I don't know how old I was like 24, 25. What'd you say?
Of course you wore a helmet.
Well, this was like before, but yeah, of course, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, nerd.
Wore a helmet, but we're speeding down the highway, and I'm like, yeah, bad boy. But really, I'm like, he's not.
Yeah, he's like, oh, slow down. My mommy warned me about boys like this.
what? Actually, I didn't get in trouble for this either, but I kind of dated this weird guy. I don't know if you ever knew about him. When I worked at Foley's, formerly known as Macy's.
Or now known as Macy's.
Formerly known as Foley's.
Yeah.
Excuse my language. My goodness. So anyway, he was the loss prevention guy, and so he was like...
You dated a mall cop? I know you did.
He was loss prevention at Foley's, and so he would check our bags every time we leave, and he was from Prosper when Prosper was really country, and so he's like, don't I know you? I said, you don't. He's like, no, I know you. We went to high school together. I said, we didn't. I said, where'd you go to high school? I went to Prosper High School or whatever over there. I guess it's Prosper High School. I went to here. And he's like, oh, well, you look familiar. Anyway, so then every time I would leave, like, he would say something and then eventually, like, ask me out on a date.
What if he said that every time he saw you? You're like, you know me because I work here. And we've done this 17 times now, Bill.
Bill. What was his name? I don't remember. Brandon was his name. Anyway, so we one night.
Shout out Brandon.
Shout out Brandon. Hope you're
With a
doing
big
well.
listenership in Prosper.
He might still be there. Who knows? Anyway, so we like kind of date. We went on several dates. One of the dates, he did drag racing down 380, and so that was kind of risky.
Were you in the car?
I was.
How fast was it going?
Fast. I don't know. I was terrified, and it was one of those things too, like bad boy. But I'm like, oh my gosh, slow down, pull over, I'll watch. So yeah.
Did he win?
No.
What kind of car did he have? Do
I
you
don't
remember?
even know. Yeah.
Was it like a
I don't
sports
know.
car?
It was like tan.
Truck?
It was a truck. It was a janky truck that Richard, my husband now, would love as well. And so
Man, you love them bad boys, huh? With their old
Richard
cars.
always says, he's like, if we knew each other back in high school, I was like, well, if I knew you in high school, then I would get arrested.
Her husband is 7 years younger than her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
him.
if you would have hung out with him when you were in high school, you'd been a creep, you know?
Man, when I met him, I knew he was young, and I didn't know he was that young. So we were dancing. I met him dancing. And that night when I met him, I was like, I saw him, and I was like, oh, that guy's cute. I would ask him to dance, but we were dealing with a loss in our family, and so I was really going dancing to, like, therapy for me. So I went by myself there. And, oh, my gosh, side story. Are you okay if I share it? The side story? No?
What is it about? I don't care.
Not about getting in trouble. But there's this girl. So I walk up there. It's kind of funny. I walk there and I see this guy who I kind of know, and this girl is standing next to him. So I go talk to the guy because I'm like, yeah, I kind of know him. So I'm talking to him. She's looking at me up and down. And she's like, mm-mm. And I'm just thinking, girl, I am not into this guy. So I go around and I start talking to her so that she would like not be a little tissy. Yeah. And so she's like, this is like a week or so before Valentine's Day. So she's like, are you hoping to meet your Valentine's tonight? And I was like,
Sure.
no, yeah. Like if I meet someone awesome, but like that's not my plan right now. What about you? She's like, yeah, I am. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, what about this guy? And she goes, well, we used to date. And I was like, I knew you were looking at me for a reason.
Did you say that to her?
No, I didn't. And I was like, oh. And she goes, so if it doesn't work out between the two of us, I'm hoping to meet a Valentine tonight. And I was like, oh, good luck.
I hope she met a Valentine.
And she goes, are you going to Valentine's party? And I was like, I'm at 31. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to Valentine's. I have some friends hanging out.
Have you made your Valentine's box yet? Like, what are you decorating your Valentine's box for your class yet? Like, where were you hanging out?
Cowboys Red River. It was just funny. And I was like, I'm not going to Valentine's party. Are you? Yeah. And she's like, if I don't meet anyone tonight, I'm hoping to meet someone at a Valentine's party. And I was like, okay, well, good luck, girl. Good luck to you. And then, oh my gosh, this is also stupid. She's like, are you having a good week this week? And I was like, no, honestly, I'm not. And she's like, oh, is it like roommate drama? And I was like, she's digging. I'm telling her. So I was like,
did you tell her?
Yes. I said, oh no. Anyway, told her what happened. And then that shut her up. And then I was like, I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to say, like, we just had a death in our family, like, explain what happened in that death.
I think you should. I hope you gave, like, all the details and just made her cry.
Yeah. Anyway, so then I meet my husband and I find out that he we're dancing and we're talking to each other and he's like, we both find out we're from Carrollton. I'm like, oh, cool. And he's like, where'd you go to high school? Hebron. Where'd you go? Creekview. I mean,
Yeah,
yes,
he went to Creekview.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, cool. And he said, when did you graduate? And I was like, I'm a little bit older than you. And he was like, no. And I said, you know what? Why don't you tell me? And then he told me. And I was like, oh, my gosh, that's 7 years. How old are you?
He used all the X's on his hand.
Yeah. Thankfully, he was actually 24 at the time, but still, I'm like, oh my gosh. And then when we went on our first date, I was like, I feel like
Did you go on a first date before Valentine's Day?
I met my Valentine's.
Oh, you met your Valentine's?
I met my Valentine's.
That chick was a soothsayer.
I saw her. We would go, afterward, multiple times after that. And I would see her and I wanted to go up and be like, hey girl, I met my Valentine.
So she was like, are you here for your St. Patrick's Day day? Like, it's just like every, she just goes 2 weeks before every holiday. Are you here for your 4th of July day?
She was so desperate. I came off the dance floor before I met Richard and I see her and she's holding 2 drinks and I'm like, hey, look at you double fisting girl. And she's like, well, it's the guy's drink. And I was like, well, where's the guy? And she goes, he's dancing. And I said, oh, well, what if you get asked to dance? And she's like, I'm going to hold it for him. And I was like,
was she attractive?
She's an average looking girl. Yeah.
Good personality?
I wouldn't say she was
funny.
Unattractive. No, I would say she's, average looking, decent looking. I mean, I wouldn't be like, dang, but I wouldn't be like, barf.
Yo, girl, if you are listening right now, if you're someone that used to go to Red River looking for your Valentine, please comment on this podcast because we hope you found your Valentine out there.
And girl, you were desperate. And if you're out there right now and you're single, don't do that because the guy came off the dance floor and he's like, he grabbed the drink from her and he's like, hey, thanks. And he walks off and she goes, I'm going to go talk to him.
Man.
And I'm like, stop it. Well, and that's when Richard walked off the dance floor and then he asked me to dance. So I was like, well,
there you go.
As soon as you lose,
out.
girl,
All right. I'll ask you one more question. Do you remember, since you never got in trouble and you had a front row seat to me getting in trouble, what's the thing that you remember getting me getting in trouble the most growing up?
I had a feeling you were going to ask that, and I was like, what am I going to say? Do you remember?
I'm trying to make sure I don't tell the story whenever I do my bonus episode.
I feel like you got more trouble after I left. Like after I graduated. You got in trouble a lot.
No, I didn't get in trouble when in high school I very rarely got in trouble. But at home, I remember one time I got grounded.
Oh, do you remember? This is nothing to do though with us getting technically in trouble, but when we were at church.
I don't want to tell that
Okay.
story. I don't want to tell that story because I think those people listen. So I don't want to
They probably know what we're talking about.
awkward. I think the biggest thing that I remember getting in trouble for that I'm not planning on telling whenever I do my bonus episode is we had this surfboard looking thing that was in our garage. I don't know what we had it for, but it was always hanging up there, and our parents lived next to a creek. And one day, and I'm 5. I'm not very old at all. And I took that surfboard down to the creek and I surfed that creek. Just hung out in there and was surfing. And all I remember Mom yelling, Michael! I could hear her coming from the house, and she ran down there, and I got in so much trouble for that. I think I was grounded for a month.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know, because they had told me not to, because I tried to before. And I'm 5 years old and I snuck off into a creek. Imagine your son.
Yeah, I'd be mad.
Yeah, you'd be you know what I mean? So that's one thing that I remember. Also, another thing, do you remember, I think they called them chromies. They were the little chrome things that you know what I'm talking about on tires? Instead of putting the rubber thing on your tire, over your tire to where you put the air in, people put chromes on them. They're chrome ones, little chromies. And it was a big thing that was going on where kids were stealing them off of cars. And so they put them on their bikes because they look tight. And I had hundreds of them. I had this entire box full of them to where, and I would make the kid that was younger than me on the street. One time there was a fire truck that came because remember that guy that passed out in our driveway?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, there was a guy that like drunk driver like passed out in our driveway. So like the police came, fire trucks came, ambulance came, and I talked the guy on our street that was a couple years younger than me to go take the chromies off the fire truck. And so he took them off the fire truck, and then he gave them to me. And then like we had all these chromies. Well, there was like a newspaper article about it, and I think Dad knew that I had been doing it. So he like brought it up to me and he's like, "You ever heard about that?" And I was like, "Oh no." And then that day I took the box that had all of them and I threw them in the creek. Got rid of that evidence,
Wow.
you know? I had
Destroying the environment.
I had so many chromies. They were so tight too. I had some really good ones that I got off of the Porsches at the State Fair of Texas car show. That we been down there, took it off, put it in my little box when I got home. Because I would trade them out on my bike.
Yeah. Did you ever steal Pogs? I feel like you did.
No, I didn't steal any Pogs. I bought my own Pogs.
Oh, wow. Classic.
Yeah.
Classy.
You know? Well, Erica, it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for coming on the podcast. Where can people find you?
Oh, they can find me on Instagram, or I have a Facebook page too for More Than Your Age. So More Than Your Age. And you can listen to the podcast, the More Than Your Age podcast. Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts as well.
Well, guys, make sure you check out Erica's Instagram, her Facebook, subscribe to her podcast, listen to it. It's a lot of fun. You can follow me on Instagram at Michael Pasvar, michaelpasvar.com for show dates. Not exactly sure when this episode will air, so I'm not going to tell out dates. So make sure you check out the website, subscribe and like the podcast, follow around. We'll see you guys next time. Bye now.